For ages, a woman has been known to give, and give. As a mother, a wife, a sister, a sibling, or professional too. And in this process of giving her moment, her presence, she completely forgets about her own self to an extent where she's unaware about her mental well-being. So today we have Dr. Tina Thomas, a psychologist in terms of comprehending women's behavioral patterns, a well-known obstetrician and gynecologist with more than 20 years of experience in Bangalore. She deals with teenage and menopause clinics. The most interesting aspect of Dr. Tina is her efforts in educating teenagers and women in the quality of life that one needs to live in terms of changes that one could witness during hormonal imbalances. Well, hi, Doc. Thank you for accepting my invitation.
Hello, thank you very much.
Well, doctor, to begin with, which group of women are more likely to have PMS? Professionals or homemakers? And what are the symptoms?
Okay, so PMS, first of all, is a premenstrual syndrome. It is a vague combination of a psychological, somatic, or biological symptoms which usually comprehend the woman at period time. So a phase of can be 1 day to 14 days pre-period, a presence of certain symptoms which trouble the woman or affect her quality of life is what is PMS or premenstrual syndrome. The symptoms can be anything physical like pain, headache, fatigue, weight gain, abdominal bloating, breast tenderness, acne, constipations, urinary troubles, or it can be anything emotional like anxiety, depression, crying spells, mood swings, decreased sleep, social withdrawal, loss of libido. So these are few of the premenstrual syndromes, any one of which may be present or few may be present pre-period time, and this is what is PMS. Now PMS may be more seen in specific profile of patients like professionally more qualified, educationally more done things, who is working more hours in a day. So hence you may see more in a professional person than in a homemaker. Also because the professional as such is putting more of her time, her efforts, her energy towards things over the day, and which is bringing down her time to be spent or relaxing or concentrating on her diet, her lifestyle. So, and the more specific, she has less of her own time where she can concentrate on herself. So add these all things may add to a professional's more chances of being subjected to PMS. And hence, because the me time here comes down very much for a professional.
So true.
That is why we...
So true. The shortage of me time for women professionals end up in disastrous relationships and hazardous outcomes at workplaces too. Moving ahead, can symptoms of PMS be confused with cramps or verbal diarrhea, as I call it?
Yeah, so a girl can or a woman can face cramps during different parts of the month, or cramps may be part of any GI symptom, or can be just a period cramp, right? A dysmenorrhea. So that may be present as cramps. For some patients, there are certain other conditions where the cramps may start before the actual bleeding starts. So you may have a dysmenorrhea before periods actually start. So there may be other reasons related to these type of cramps, but always, since this cramps may be one of the part of a PMS also, it can be mistaken with a regular PMS or a regular cramp. Also, verbal diarrhea, as we say, is a constant outflow of a talk that may or may not lead to many things. So it's a constant outbreak of something where you keep on, it may be part of an anxiety or an extrovert or a certain mood change which would have caused it. So, but these symptoms may be same as PMS. So we may mistake it. So it may become a differential diagnosis when it comes to PMS. But definitely two things which we can discriminate. One is this PMS will be always premenstrual. And number two, it will be cyclical. So it doesn't come in a month and then vanish for 3-4 months and then come again a month. Not like that. PMS will be cyclical and it will be continuously there for a few months or a year or ahead or more. So unlike any cramp or verbal diarrhea, which may be not a cyclical and premenstrual.
So true. Well, this reminds me of the line that actually brought me to this conversation, Wicked Witch of the West. I've heard teenagers call their loved ones or husbands mentioning it, my wife has lost it. So many lines like these help me realize that I would say majority of the women in the country, more than 80%, are unaware of these hormone surges and dips throughout PMS or menopause, and to an extent which many women are unaware. So what symptoms confirm to be diagnosed as PMS, and at what age should one expect?
Okay, so PMS can get presented at any age. It can be 20s, 30s, 40s. So it is said that at 20s, the PMS can be very rough. At 30s, it may be very severe. At 40s, it may come with a vaginance. Okay, so I actually don't know which age to specify it. It is usually comes in early ages and always and late ages. So that is how it is. So age related. And so it also depends on how you are aware of it. A 20-year-old may not be aware of the symptoms and it may take it little rough and sudden, and she may not be able to cope up well with it. At 30, you have already dealt with your husbands, your friends, and your children. So you are little more psychologically stable to deal with it when it comes. But at 40, they say when you have it at 20, it may come little more at 40. And at 40s, your body is also not that at 25. So the energy levels are down. So you may feel a little more bad at 40s if it is there. So that is how age matters. And also our life and environmental factors. So it all depends on our lifestyle at point of time. At 20, you may have small friends who may also not be aware of it to support you. At 30, there will be nobody to support you, because 30 is the age when you are supporting your parents, you are supporting your husband, you are supporting your children. So you are all the more. So that is where it may be little severe, because you don't have a support system for you. But at 40s, I expect all ladies to have their own girlfriends. Okay. So life is little more easier at that time. So probably that may be little easier to take, and they have also gone through it and known it a little better. So that may be how the age matters for PMS. And symptom wise, as I told you, it can be physical, where it may be with a lot of aches and pains, body changes, weight gain, diet, appetite issues, or it can be acne, disfigured, breast tenderness, difficult to cope up with these body changes, what happens. So it can be physical symptoms. It can be emotional symptoms where you have depression, you have crying spells, you're anxious for small things, sleep pattern changes, there are social withdrawals, or it can be behavioral when when anger is at your nose tip and you are ready to blast out for no reason. And people around would think actually that few years back she wouldn't have responded to this at all, and now she's all over the place with it.
Exactly.
So the thing is, these may be the behavioral changes which may come up at times, difficult to cope up with also.
Yeah, that's my area of interest, behaviors, and that's the reason this discussion, because I guess a little change in terms, maybe in terms of lifestyle, or notice what you're noticing in the difference of behavior within oneself, and proper guidance with specialists like you, I think the outcomes would be wonderful. What change in lifestyle will ease PMS?
Now, when we look into treatment of PMS, there are only two things. One is a lifestyle change, and the two is medical tablets. These are only two ways to go about it when you deal with PMS. So the lifestyle changes which you would like to see to help you get out of PMS are: number one, the first and most important is be active. So it is like the more active you are, the more things you are doing over the day distracts you from the points which are pulling you back. So be active, keep doing something, make yourself busy in things which are there around you and need help, rather than brooding over and sitting down and lying down. Okay, I can't do it. So when it is like, if you're lying down saying, I can't do it, I can't do it, and then it will increase only.
Exactly.
Unless you are making yourself active. So the first thing for PMS, it is not always that a doctor or a family or other people need to. The first help comes from you yourself.
Sure.
Be active yourself. So the first thing would be active. So more active you are, the lesser the problem. Second is diet. Diet plays a very important role, because we always expect PMS is a shift of hormonal thing around. So as I told you, medicine will be always hormones, but how do lifestyle? So dietary changes, you decrease the salt intake, increase the variety of fruits and vegetables in your diet, increase the amount of water content in your diet, more fluids, increase calcium in your diet. If you want, take supplements at times, decrease the fat you are taking in. So as they said, it's always least fat, very less carbs, and increase your proteins. So that same thing continues. Increase your vitamin D, go out under the sun for some time or take supplements. When you feel like snacking in between, snack nuts. So they will help you get over things. Yeah, eat complex carbohydrates. So we as Indians have potatoes in our diet in everything. So bring down your potatoes and complex carbohydrates like sweet potato. You can shift to a little bit on sweet potato, pumpkins, lentils, all this. So then whole grains in your diet, decrease your alcohol and caffeine as much as possible, and increase your iron content. So this is how diet helps. So one is being active, second, diet changes. Third, quit smoking. If you are into smoking, then quit smoking. There is nothing like decrease smoking or anything. Quit as much as possible. Fourth is vitamin B6 supplements can help you bring it down. Fifth is relaxation techniques. So again, it depends on you. You may have different ways of relaxing. Some listen to music, some yoga, meditation, deep breathing. So these are small techniques which help you relax. So find out what means you require to help yourself to. And the last but not the least is always good to talk.
Yeah.
Talk it out.
Exactly. I just love that.
So find out people who are ready to listen to you. Maybe your friends, your relatives, or somebody who is there to listen to you, or find out professionals for therapies where you are talking it out and getting it out of your system. So these may be some lifestyle changes. Exercise, last but not the least, exercise. So exercise plays at least half an hour a day, any form of exercise. So it is not that everybody has to do Zumba or high-end exercises, can be anything small. So it all depends on our body style, our time to give time to some form of exercise.
Yes, I think we are wonderfully well on the same page. When should an individual or a family seek help or realize it is time for help? You know, Tina, I watched scores of women coming down with various issues in terms of behavioral changes. And it really hurts or pains to watch the outcome on the people around. Because for oneself, it may not be visible and it may not be comprehended that the person is creating an impact. But the impact that holds on the people around is really high. So when do you think family should actually seek help?
So, so there are two things to it. When do we seek help? The person as such should seek help when she feels that her quality of life is affected. So if the person gets to know that her quality of that may be in anything, it may be a mood change, an anxiety, a crying spell. We don't sit and cry jabardasti somewhere here sitting down. We don't cry. Okay, so when there is a crying spell, we should be so for this, young girls and ladies should listen to videos like this where they are more aware that such things exist and it may be there within us. We are not recognizing it, because the most problematic thing in this is not recognizing it. That is when you are late for it. It can be recognizable early and treatable early. So once you do that, it is. So first thing, if the person herself recognizes that her quality of life is affected, maybe in the way she speaks, in the effect of her mood changes, maybe her attitude towards life as such, people as such, her colleagues, her children, her family. So this is what one thing. Or her aches and pains. She knows how it is. So do not attribute all aches and pains to there's no reason seen. Find out why is this. So once it affects your quality of life, you have to seek for help. Now, how does the family decide? So family will decide when the person herself is not realizing it is a problem. Okay. Yeah. So when the person, because in India, 70% or more or 80% of women do not recognize their problems at all.
Exactly.
So there was a 60-year-old lady who watches reads umpteen number of magazines. She knows everything about health, and she comes with a huge mass in the breast, with the one breast is 3 times the size of the other breast. She never realized she has a mass. So we deal with such people, women in India, because they are not able to recognize their own body. So that is when the family decides. But the family would decide only when there is premenstrual depressive disorder. So when the depressive disorder or the behavioral changes have come to a level where you need treatment, that is when probably the family would understand that this is something. When the lady herself doesn't know about PMS and perimenopausal problems, then how do the family will know about it? So that is where it becomes late. So when there is such a mood changes or behavioral changes which is affecting the other people in the family, in the office, in the colleagues, in the friends, that is when they would actually take to seek help, and probably at least with the starting of that, they need to seek help, because again, we live in a society where psychological counseling is equal to being mad. Okay, so
absolutely.
So you seek psychological help only very late. So half of the problem can be settled if it is talked over and dealt with and the thing little bit changed. So before it reaches to a stage where it is not treatable, we can always get it by talking it out. So that is when the behavioral changes are bad, that is when family seeks help. We should live our quality of life. So we know when our quality of life changes, we seek help.
Exactly. As you mentioned, it is so true, and it's really sad that our society is still in an infancy where they've not realized the importance of reaching counseling, help, therapists, and get out of the issue. That, as you rightly mentioned, is equal to insanity. So the minute you say that I am trying to reach for help, or I should talk to a therapist, I should meet a counselor, I should talk it out to someone, it's you're gone mad. So, well, I hope we are able to reach and help people understand these aspects are so important. Moving ahead, what are the most severe symptoms of behavior change in menopause?
In menopause. So menopause is something which is usually a natural biological process where a woman stops her periods, she stops menstruating. It can be a natural process which happens between 40s to 50 at 40s and 50s. The average age of menopause across world is 51. In India, we may see with 46, 47. So that is the average age of menopause. Plus minus, we may have perimenopausal or postmenopausal symptoms. So to few years, it can be 1 year to 7 years before menopause, perimenopausal, and postmenopausal can extend to again 5 years, where you may have peri and postmenopausal symptoms, which may be deterring to the patient. Now, menopause, as I said, it may be a natural phenomenon most of the time. 1% may have menopause before 40 years, that is premature failure, or premature menopause, that is 1%. Some may be surgically menopause when they remove the uterus and the ovaries. The fourth people can be chemotherapy or post chemotherapy or radiation when they may go into menopause. So the symptoms, sudden menopause is even difficult because other three will be difficult. It's sudden, but menopause as such will come with a perimenopausal period of 1 to 7 years, where you may have the same type of premenopausal symptoms of mood changes, depression, anxiety, anger burst, crying spells, fights among your colleagues, your friends, discussions, unnecessary discussions over unnecessary topics, which you would have avoided at a younger age. So things where these are the behavioral changes which you can come up with during perimenopause, other than physical, like hot flashes. Now, hot flashes is one big thing which gives to behavioral change. Hot flashes is you suddenly feel hot and sweating, and you can actually feel the sweat drooling down your body. So you feel that hot flashes suddenly in a cold. So you may feel that the entire people are around you are cold because of the AC that is running, but you may still be having sweats. So that is something, hot flashes, which may be quite abnormal, which itself gives rise to behavioral changes. Sleep problems can give to behavioral changes. There are emotional instabilities, fatigue. Body is also 45 plus. So your all these night sleeps, night sweats, they getting up in the night, so sleep disturbances, all this would be, and physical changes, thinning of the hair, weight gain, body may not be able to cope up, the metabolic rate may come down. So when there is a lot of changes, that is perimenopausal, and these are the changes which happen around the time of menopause, can give rise to a lot of behavioral problems like all these.
Okay. How does menopause affect the mental health to an extreme extent, if we look at it?
So menopause affecting mental health are based on certain symptoms like irritability may be more, frustrations over small things will be more. There will be angry outbursts, anxiety. For example, a husband and a wife, husband goes out, usually used to go out every day coming back, but now the phone calls of the wife must have increased. Every half an hour she's calling, where are you, where are you, where are you? So anxiety levels are very high, which again, the couple may not take it good. A husband may not know that is because of the anxiety which is high she's going through.
Exactly.
So so restlessness may increase, decrease concentration in work. So work gets affected, loss of interest in many things which may be there before, but now there is sudden loss of interest in doing many things. Then lapses in memories.
Oh.
There are many times women will say that they have put tea powder instead of the salt, or salt instead of sugar. So there's lapses of memories. Small term memories may lapse suddenly. Lack of energy. You don't feel like doing anything. Sleep problems, appetite, physical pain, and most importantly, leading to all this is low self-esteem.
That's a big guess. How successful is cognitive behavioral therapy?
So cognitive behavioral therapy is, again, as I said, it is psychosocial intervention which aims to improve the mental health, focusing on certain challenges and changing the way a person thinks, changing the behavioral pattern, thinking pattern, so that to improve the personal coping of the patient with whatever changes she may be going through. So that is what is cognitive behavioral therapy. Maximum time it is talking over things to change your thinking towards many things. For example, now if yesterday only when I was talking to my colleague, she's a gynecologist, she's a young gynecologist. So she said, it is, why should you talk about sex education to children? I said, it is happening. How can you say? It is happening everywhere. And unless you teach your children, do that. But if you're teaching, you are giving them permission to do it. I said, no, you are not giving them permission to do it. You tell there is no permission to do it. But the society we live in, they may do it tomorrow somehow, may happen. When it happens, they should not be taken to dooms. They should be aware of the facts that is around. So that is what is changing the mindset of the people. CBT is telling them how to think further beyond, little more beyond of what you do. Today, you as a woman, now that you are suffering from perimenopausal problems, you are fighting at home, fights have increased, you are not able to cope up with your changes that is happening in the children, in the husband, in the house, in the workplace. So the thing is, you are not able to cope up with. When you are not able to cope up, how do you change your thinking? You have to change your thinking. So unless you are talking to somebody, unless you are discussing with somebody. So basically, it is not that the other person is putting his ideas or his thinking into your mouth. No, it is just talking over sessions to understand, you understand yourself better. So when you do understand yourself better, you are able to cope up with things little more better. So that is what it is. And definitely that is of benefit. Once your lifestyle and diet and all that, this is about that to help you cope up with it before you land up in medicines.
That's just amazing explanation. Thanks a lot. And what are the small ways a family can help? Maybe a sibling or a husband recognizes, notices. Of course, yes, in a realistic way, most of them don't notice these changes. But what if there is a possibility that a family can also contribute? How can they do it?
So first thing is the family should be aware. So they should be, so if they are more inclined, so for example, me, myself, I may be in a little early perimenopause time. So there are times suddenly I felt like crying one day. So the thing is, the partner or the friend or my sibling, whoever listens to that, she or he should understand that this is not the nature of this particular human being at other times. Then why is she doing it now? She is otherwise so strongly women. Why is she doing this? So there is something wrong. But the problem is, we are into such a fast world that there is no time to give that 2 minutes to think over that. Okay, so if our counterparts, our friends and siblings and husbands give that time and space to think, okay, this must be because of this, then everything falls. It's a jigsaw puzzle.
Yes.
Everything clicks and falls in one place. So the point is, we should make them and people around them aware that there is a condition like this. There's a problem like this. She may be going through which she is not herself aware of. So communicate with her well. I always tell my patients, don't talk to her what you have eaten, how did you sleep, are you sitting, did you exercise. She is an educated woman who knows to do all that. You talk to her things which are different. You read newspaper in the morning and discuss the news with her. She will distract all the more. She is already troubled with her things in over the day, and you go and ask, did you eat that? Did you eat the cucumber? Did you eat the salad? Did you walk up and down the stairs? So that is just irritating her all the more. So communicate with her things which will distract her attention. Talk to her things which is happening around the world, to make her more aware of things, to make her distracted from what her to get her learn things about, to think about her basically. So communicate very well things. Patience. Family is patience. Unless you have patience, things are not going to work. So give her time, give her space. She will come back and say whatever is required. But for the time being, you don't go over it and say, I have to win over this conversation. No. Try to give time, give space, offer her help of whatever, express your approval to what she is saying for the time being. It doesn't matter. She says, keep that table like that. You are fighting, keep the table other way. There is no point. Give time. She will herself keep the table the other way. So it is just express your approval in things, give her time, communicate, have patience with her. And the most important thing, create a sense of humor in everything. So she also gets distracted. So that is how she doesn't need you to do her chores. She doesn't need to do her office work by you. She doesn't need to teach her children by you. She doesn't need to iron her others' clothes. She will do everything. Only thing is, she needs your help, your company, your time, your communication, your talk. Not you, did you sleep, did you eat? That's not what you have to talk to women of your life partner. You have to talk things bigger above, so that you communicate with her and get a sense of humor in herself, rather than letting her brood over her small things. So that is how you help your family. Because as I would say, the a part of when I explain treatment, the first treatment is help yourself. The second treatment is the family helps you. Then it is cognitive behavioral therapy, and then it is psychiatrist. So that is how we need.
Beautifully explained, very beautifully explained. I think it was so educating too. I'm sure many of them would understand this. And finally, I would say, why be better when you can be the best? You could be the best of moms, best of sisters, professionals, maids. A little time for yourself and notice what's happening or what changes occur. I think it would bring amazing results. Besides, to the others, I would say, give your loved ones your moment, your presence. I think that would help women around go through these physiological changes and behaviors and contribute in the best way possible. Am I right, Doc?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you
They
so
are growing. Yeah, they are growing. Women are growing everywhere. They don't need your support system. They just need your hand to help you grow, help them grow.
Yes, thank you so much. It was amazing.